Huzzah, Rangers! This is your boy Phil Harris here at the Jacks Rangers show. I am joined with Double D Diamond Dave. How the hell are you?
I am fantastic, Phil. How are you?
Excellent, feeling like a winner. And we just played an intro that I said that I would never play on the show again. But for whatever reason, I'm feeling very frisky. And by the way, it was Bozo6 with the MLR Shield taunting other teams. And if you've been taunted by this man, Bozo6, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Click the link below to find out more. Let's let's just go ahead and say it. This is the big one. Double D. This is the MLR championship. Some team, either New England Free Jacks, our New England Free Jacks, the defending MLR champions, or the Seattle Seawolves, two-time MLR champions, will be walking away with silverware in San Diego on Sunday. It's the big one. There's no bigger game in MLR than this one right here, and our New England Free Jacks are back once again in the championship. How does it feel?
It feels fantastic. It is exhilarating. Everybody asked me when we won, when the team won on Saturday, "Oh, you going out to San Diego? You going to San Diego?" And I told everybody, "No, I'm not. I'm not going to. No, I'm not going to be able to go. No, thank you for asking, but no, I'm not going to go." And I am, in fact, going to San
Yeah,
Diego.
let's fucking go.
It is really exciting. Um, and I can't wait to get out there, get to Snapdragon, see one of the best newest venues in the league. I mean the best newest venue in the league.
Sure.
That's why they got the bid to host. So
Mm-hmm.
it should be. It better live up to its billing, man. I'm expecting
Sure.
a pretty good time there,
Yeah.
and I think it will. Um, just really excited to go and see the boys play,
100%.
and have a chance for them to bring home a second championship would be just phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this previously, and I've posted a very successful meme talking about my insane or heroic travel plans myself. I was always going to go to this game. And by the way, it's begrudgingly going to, obviously, I want my team, I want to be there to see my team compete for a shield. That's not what I'm talking about. I just
Right.
hate the idea of having to be on a plane, a metal tube for 6 hours in the air within the continental United States to go see an Eastern Conference team play a Western Conference team on the West Coast. That concept to me doesn't really work out that well. There's this whole middle of the country that could have been used just like last year to meet in the middle on a neutral ground for these two teams to play. But then again, I'm no rocket scientist. What the hell do I know? But yeah, I'm going. I'll be there. I am leaving on Sunday morning. You heard that right, folks. The MLR Championship is at 1 p.m. Pacific time. I'm leaving from Boston at 7 a.m. on Sunday, traveling across the continental United States, and I will arrive at 10 a.m. their time there in San Diego, go to the game. After the game, I'm going not to a hotel, I'm going directly to the airport, and I'm getting on a plane and flying back to Boston, and I will be at work at 8:30 in the morning on Monday because my flight
Holy
arrives
crow!
at 7 o'clock in the morning on Monday morning.
And you're
And I'm
going
just
straight
going
to
to be,
work.
I'm going straight to work, baby. That's right.
You're a madman. I've
I
got
know.
Monday off. I'm taking a red eye back
There you
Sunday
go.
night similarly, but I've got one other thing I'm planning to do Monday is sleep.
That's probably what I should be doing. But I'm not doing that. This is just a marathon for me. Like I'm not running unless somebody's chasing me. So this is my version of that, right? So,
Yeah.
anywho, let's see here. I don't want to bring the mood down too much, but after the late fan allocation ticket situation last year, where almost all Free Jacks fans had bought their tickets, and then the club encouraged fans to switch to a different section to sit together, this season, we have no action from the league regarding this for fan allotment. So it's kind of the Wild West out there. The First Regiment has encouraged Rangers to sit in section 110, 111, and 113 and 114. Again, I'm no rocket scientist, but I believe that the best way to go about this is not the way that the league has done it. Well before the conference finals, MLR should have posted where the Eastern Conference fans could sit and do the same thing for the West. As soon as the Eastern Conference is over, those winning teams, those clubs send out links with access to those sections. Your thoughts, Dave?
Yeah, I mean, the links even don't. Even if we didn't have the links or like restricted way to buy them, just having sections named, hey, this is the going to be the Eastern Conference fan
Sure.
section. This will be the Western Conference fan section. Just have some
Right.
designated areas so that people have some guidance. I mean, people are buying their tickets way out,
Right.
ahead of time, and I have to assume that most people would, especially now that you can like generally resell and shuffle ticket, release tickets and
Hmm.
get change. I would think that most people would buy their tickets in the area where their conference is
Yeah, you would think, right?
identified as sitting, and
Yeah.
then if their team isn't there, think if you're like a NOLA fan going, right,
Sure.
like if you don't necessarily feel bound to stay in that where you bought the Eastern, you
Hmm.
might, because you're like, yeah, I'll sit with the Eastern Conference. Maybe you're like, I hate the Free Jacks, I want to sit with
Right.
the Seattle fans,
Sure.
and you go to the other side, but like the technology is there to allow that too, if it would even be a big hurdle, which I don't think it would. I mean, I think the solution, like you said, is just to say, hey, section 105 is the Eastern Conference section, 105, 106, and
Yeah.
109, 110 are the Western Conference, whatever it is. I just made up those sections, but
Sure.
like that's all it would take, right?
That's all it would
Pretty
take.
pretty straightforward.
Very simple stuff. But we can't have that. No, no. It just sucks that we're not going to be able to accurately recreate the Fort Quincy atmosphere. Like you're a couple sections over from us. You're the
Right.
the huzzah guy, right? Like so for us to coordinate that, I'm gonna need some binoculars, right, to be able to see your movements and all that sort of stuff. So like it just kind of sucks. And I don't mind intermingling with other fans. Like, I don't think there's any concern of violence or anything like that. This isn't soccer, folks. Like, I don't think somebody's going to get punched out because our team beats them or whatever. It's a matter of like, I want to be around my people. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like,
Yep.
all of us together moving this thing forward with our voices. And if we're all over the whole damn place, it doesn't work as well. So,
Right.
yeah.
And then
Uh,
we'll just be a little bit louder.
Sure, sure. That's all we can do. And why wouldn't you be? This is the final game of the season. If your team wins, you get another shield, and there's another parade with the lobster and mobster buses. So,
Absolutely.
so there's that. Rangers, we will be speaking potentially with some Seattle folks. It hasn't. Listen, I would have loved for this submitted schedule days ago. It hasn't quite worked out the way that I've wanted to, but we want to speak to some Seattle people on Thursday at 9 p.m. Hopefully, fingers crossed that comes together. We will see. Here's the good news. Our mighty New England Free Jacks have an opportunity to defend their MLR shield. All they have to do, Dave, is win this last game, and they're back-to-back champions. How nice does that sound?
That would be pretty fantastic.
It would be. Well, there's some bad news, though. Uh-oh.
What's the bad news?
The Western Conference this year has been trench warfare. The West is stacked with good teams, and the mighty Seattle Seawolves are battle hardened and have some impressive victories to their name, having beaten our very own New England Free Jacks at Fort Quincy earlier in the season. And by the way, they did it with scrum dominance. I'm sure Dave is going to talk about this a little bit later on here. It is an area of concern for the Free Jacks going into this game. Slaying their bitter rivals. I'm talking about Seattle now. They slayed their bitter rivals, the Legion, in a very close game in the Western Conference semifinals and survived a very serious scare against Dallas, who shocked the world by defeating the number one seed Houston SaberCats. So this team is also, they're no joke, man. I said this early in the last episode. This is truly a clash of the Titans. You've got the best team an organization in the Eastern Conference. I don't think anybody would question that at any point by saying that. Now, there's certain fans of other teams, DC, that might say, well, we're pretty good too, or whatever. No, no, no. No.
We beat you twice.
We beat you twice. Well, no, you're not the defending champions, or you're not going back to a championship situation here. And by the way, we have the best record in the league the past couple of years. Anyway, we all know that we're the best. Seattle, on the other side, is the example of consistency and winning culture within this league. If
Yeah.
Seattle doesn't make the playoffs, I mean, the world is ending. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody's like, "Whoa, hey, what's happening here?" They are always in the hunt. They've won back to back. Now it was the beginning of the league, and I know, well, Phil, there was only like 8 teams at the time. There was something called the Glendale Raptors, whatever that is, back then. But still, winning championships is in their DNA, right? You have to watch the History Channel to learn about this, but it happened. It happened
The
way back
first
in the
two.
first two.
The first two.
Exactly. Exactly. So they are the
When there
standard
were
bearers of the
16,
West.
no, just kidding. There were more than 6 teams.
But what I'm trying to say is they are the standard bearer of the West.
They
It
are. They
sure as
really
hell
are.
isn't the Legion.
We're joking, but like, yeah,
Yes, they are.
they're the OGs. They were the team that, when the league was in its infancy,
Yeah,
emerged as the dominant team of the league.
a hundred
And
percent.
since then, they have not maintained the same level of dominance,
Right.
but they have never sucked.
That's
And
right.
here they are again, back in a championship game, and they have a chance to, be the first team to hit 3.
That's right. And they have a very good possibility of winning this game. Now it's going to take a Herculean effort by the Free Jacks to win this game. I think it's fair to say. I don't think we're some massive underdog by any means, but we're going to have to play our best game of the season to overcome the
Yeah.
Seattle Seawolves in San Diego. And speaking of San Diego, I posted about this earlier in the week, but what an awkward situation it is for the San Diego Legion fans. San Diego are the Buffalo Bills of MLR, folks. I mean, listen, they got the shiny uniforms and that's all cool, and they got this awesome new stadium or whatever, but they just are. They have been to the dance so many times, but they've never sealed the deal. And now, to add insult to injury to these poor folks, they're hosting a final that they expected to be at, but were beaten by their biggest rival that represents the Western Conference. And oh, by the way, the Eastern Conference team that beat them in the finals last year is the other team playing for a chance to win a shield that you've never, as the Legion fans, you've never been to the promised land, folks. It must be hard as hell to be a Legion fan, man. Like San Diego, very nice place. I've heard nothing but good things, so that's all well and good. But man, it's got to be tough. It's got to be tough for those season ticket holder fans and those folks that wear the Legionnaire stuff to show up on Sunday, and you've got your biggest rival there and the team that beat you last year competing for a championship. Man, that's going to be tough.
It's gonna be hard. Normally you joke, right, that the in this situation with your two rivals,
Yeah,
teams who've defeated you, playing, you'd root for like a stadium collapse, or maybe a sudden earthquake, and they can't even do that. It's their stadium. They don't
that's
want
right.
anything. They don't want anything bad to happen.
Interesting.
They just have to.
Earthquakes.
They just have to watch.
Right.
Um, it is. I'm sure it's tough. I'll be interested to see how many people are there, like in their Legion gear. You got to figure, right? If you're a Legion fan, you'd wear
Mm-hmm.
your like Legion
Sure.
gear. So I'll be curious. Maybe they really know how to party, just like the Bills fans,
That'd
and
be
that's why
great.
they picked them to host.
I'll go through a table.
It
I don't
is
care.
it is like an all day event, man. They
Yeah,
post.
man.
There's gonna be like some Moto X stuff
That's pretty cool.
outside. There's gonna be I think gates don't open until an hour before kickoff.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, but there's like tailgate area.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah,
they're
yeah.
like
Hmm.
there's events in the parking lot, similar to Chicago, I'm guessing, right? Like we couldn't get
Yes.
into SeatGeek Stadium until it was actually close to kickoff because they had
Sure.
everything set up outside. So
That's right.
they want you outside until they're ready for you to go in. So there's stuff going on. We'll get in, but there's like a just like there was a pre-game DJ. We had Shaq
Right.
before. Now there's a different DJ before the game. I mean, it's a whole ass party, Phil.
And of course,
You're gonna
Marshmallow,
be
who,
tweaking your
yeah,
little head off out there
hell yeah, man.
dancing. Yeah, and then we get Marshmallow at the end for us,
Hmm.
and at
And
halftime.
halftime. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Halftime, yeah.
It's
So
exciting stuff.
it's gonna be a party. I mean, it's gonna be a good time for those Legion fans, even if they have to watch one of their rivals win a championship.
Hmm.
Uh,
I make fun of the Legion fans quite a bit, but they're really nice people. Of course, I met Marcus, who does the whole Legion get up
yeah,
stuff at the tailgate last year. Very nice guy, great conversation. Everybody in rugby, there's not a lot of assholes in rugby. I post a lot of, I talk a lot of shit, but I get along with people. There's going to be no issues. we love those guys. I appreciate them hosting the tailgate that's going to be taking place on Sunday. That's very nice of them to do that. So I'm excited to talk to Marcus and Sean again, one of the other main figures within the Legion fan base. And of course, there's the Seattle fans. How can I forget Broccoli Guy, a true rugby ambassador? Can't wait to see him. By the way, he's a big fan of the New England Free Jacks. He's that's his Eastern Conference team. He
That's
comes
right.
to Fort Quincy every single year to enjoy the vibes. So I'm
Yep.
excited to meet up with him and talk to him about this matchup, and maybe do a little dance with him. I'll grab a broccoli and he'll grab a broccoli and we'll just go to town.
Yeah, I saw he's trying to get up there on stage with Marshmallow.
I
He's
saw that.
he's shooting his shot, man.
I
Respect to
understand.
that guy. He goes for it.
Appreciate that. Yeah, you got it. You got it. Listen, if you don't ask, you don't get. Right.
That's right.
So you got to
That's
ask.
right.
Good for him, and I hope it works out. Speaking of Seattle, they finished second overall in the regular season with 57 points, 2 table points ahead of the Free Jacks, 11 wins, 5 losses, the same win-loss record as the Jacks, but the 2 more bonus points in their favor put them ahead in terms of bringing the table together. Let's not forget that the Seawolves came into Fort Quincy in April and jumped over over, let's see, what did I say here? Over in a free willy stance and landed right on Woodgie's head with a 11-20, or excuse me, the 21-29 2-score victory. Interestingly enough, Seattle is yet another team that beat the Free Jacks at home that we will face in the playoffs. So every single team that we have faced except for we didn't play NOLA because they lost to Chicago. So yes, every single team that we're facing in the playoffs had beat us at Fort Quincy. So this is a neutral site game, not that big of a deal, but it is a slight concern for sure. This is a matchup that I and many others have been waiting so long for. I said earlier, it's a true clash of the Titans. There are no better ran organizations in the league and more successful teams in the league than these two powerhouses within their conference. The question is, Double D, can Seattle recite a hey ya player? If you've seen Free Willy, you know what I'm talking about. A hey ya prayer and signal Rucky to jump over the Free Jacks into the MLR Shield. Is that something that they can do?
Uh, can as in have the pieces and capacity. They could. They could theoretically win. I'm backing our boys in red, white, and blue
Love that.
to bring it home. I do think Seattle's dangerous, but I think there are a couple areas where they have a bit of the edge. But I think overall, we present a greater risk to them, especially as the game wears on.
Mm-hmm.
I think our depth is going to bring it home for us. If I mean, you were saying we no Kyle, possibly no Jr. I'm pretty confident that neither of those guys will be in the lineup, just based on how injured they appear to be from what
But
happened.
you never
You
know. You
never
never
know.
know.
So like that, our depth is maybe taking a little bit of a hit, but the
Sure.
thing is, Seattle are riddled with injuries. They have
Mm,
also seen a number of significant injuries. They also have good depth. The difference, I think, is in the management. I think we've done a better job responding to those challenges mid-season. TK bringing in,
mm-hmm.
Lennon in replace of Poland, so that we have
Yes.
that pace, injected back into our game. Fricker and Melvin have been impact guys, especially
Mm-hmm.
Melvin. Fricker had a more impactful game last week. I think
Agreed.
probably his most noticeable performance. I think we're just going to see that increase. Maybe the finals his breakout. So I think we have the edge there when we look at like injuries and then reaction to that, and
Mm-hmm.
ensuring that we are as strong a team as we can be coming into the postseason.
Sure.
I think Seattle is a very, very physical team. You can see when you just look at them.
Mm-hmm.
They're physically imposing. They are very good scrummagers. They really had their way with our scrum the last time
Yes.
we played. We are going to have a different scrum this time. We are going to have to. We have
Yeah.
different personnel. So I think that helps move the needle back toward our favor, just because we're going to have a different constellation of guys in that type five. And I think that is a little bit of a clean start, like a fresh slate, um, for the scrums. Our lineout's been looking good.
Yep.
It's been functioning really well in the playoffs. I don't know. I couldn't tell you why it suddenly clicked, but the with the exception of a couple errors here and there, which are going to creep in, you're never going to get 100% perfection. Um, it's been really good. So I feel okay about our set piece. And at the end of the day, I mean, we won a championship last year with a
Hmm.
scrum that was at times vulnerable to attack and
Sure.
gave penalties to the other team. Probably one of our weaker areas.
Hmm.
We know that what we our props produce really well in the loose. We like these players as like personnel on the team. um, I think it just creates a situation where occasionally teams who have really put their piled in, their chips, in that we're going to have a dominant scrum basket. I think we're a team where they can bring that tool and you can see it sometimes.
Hmm.
But we have chips scattered in other baskets, more chips, and it ends up being the edge for
Yes.
us. That we prove that we can win championships in this league with a scrum that is not always flawless against teams whose scrums are like close to flawless.
Hmm.
And rugby's a funny sport that way, where you don't have to be perfect in every area, and this is an area where we're pretty imperfect. But even if things don't go perfectly this weekend with the scrum, I think we can still get the win. It only needs to go perfect when it has to go perfect. So
Sure.
there's also like give up some points, even give up some tries a couple times if that's the major negative that you can point to. And there are still good attacking platforms provided when it's our ball in the scrum. That's really important, right? So it's one thing to give up penalties when it's the other team's scrum and they can just keep it in and like grind at you and just prove that they're more powerful. As long as when it's your put in, you're still able to get the ball back and get a clean attack out of your backs.
Hmm.
That's half the equation. The other half is like, can you contest when it's their put in?
Right.
So I guess it's a very long-winded way of saying that we don't need to panic about the idea of some scrum penalties here or there. It
Sure.
is something we can obviously all identify as an area of weakness, but we know that this team can perform despite that, right? We've seen them do it, and they almost did it the last time they played Seattle. It was that thing where we didn't perform. It wasn't a great match overall, and even so, we were in it. We were
That's
coming
right.
back, and had a chance to score at the very end, which would have gotten us a couple pool points. We ended up making an error. A bad day to be a free jack, right?
Right.
But I mean, it's that error in the game doesn't matter if we're not within 8 points like we were. We were we
Sure.
were really competitive, and we were competitive on a day where like Seattle looked really good and we looked like shit, right?
That's a ringing endorsement, I think.
And I think that you can actually take a little bit of hope from that. And I certainly
Yeah.
don't mean to say that Seattle are going to be pushovers. This is going to be a
No.
really tough match.
Yeah.
But we've shown that we can hang with them even like on our off days. So they
That's
they
right.
have to earn a win against us. And I think if we can show up, and I think we will show up really primed and ready to perform our best. One of the things Scott Matthew has demonstrated that he and his team of coaches and the leadership team on the team have been able to do really well is prepare
Hmm.
these players to compete at a high level. And that is maybe the thing that I have the most confidence in this team. I am so confident in how they are going to be prepared by their coaches and leaders in terms of analysis and
Hmm.
game plan. I'm very, very confident that they are going to show up 100% focused,
Yeah.
dialed in. It is nice to be this confident in a team that you're a fan of and know that, like, you can't be confident in the result,
Hmm.
but you can be so confident in the process
Sure.
and trust that whatever happens, they're going to deliver the best performance that they can deliver. And I mean, that's one of the reasons I'm going out there, right?
Yeah.
If this was like yeah, we made it. We limped our way into the championship. That's pretty cool. I didn't think we'd make it that far. I wouldn't be taking the time and the money to go out there, but
Yeah, just stay home. Yeah.
that's not the vibe,
Nope.
right? The vibe is we're here to win another one, and we
Hell
know
yeah.
that it's a serious challenge, but we're up for it, and that is really, really invigorating. And I think that tenacity is the edge. It's always been the edge the Free Jacks have had. The
Interesting.
absolute unwillingness to die,
I
to
love that.
to go down in points and to come right back. We saw so many come from behind victories in previous years, and then we saw the
Hmm.
Free Jacks doing it again this year
Yeah.
when they had a tougher time. Teams not had their number. Teams were up for it. Teams were prepared, maybe no longer underestimating the Free Jacks,
Right.
and it was a little bit of a different season. The season had a different tenor, and these guys were there for it. And I don't know, all those things really make me feel really good going into this final. It's going to be a huge test. It's going to be a phenomenal game, I think, against Seattle, and I can't wait.
I feel the same way. I love that you highlighted a couple things that are Free Jack's strengths and have been since the very beginning, essentially, since Scott Matthew at least walked through the door, with TK pulling the strings in terms of depth, right? This team has so much depth, it's ridiculous. I think 2 weeks ago we had 7 out of the 8 guys on the bench were internationally capped. That's incredible. They're
Yeah.
not starting the game; they're finishers. Um, it's wild to think about in that aspect. And preparation, you're absolutely right. One of the biggest things about Scott Matthews' success with the Free Jacks is he prepares his team so well. I think Colton Bennett, who's just the nicest kid in the world, is a huge part of that as well. That is like one of our secret weapons is Colton Bennett's analysis and being able to put information in front of Scott Matthews and allowing him to prepare this team very well at that very, very highest level. That's a part of our success that people don't talk about, but they will be prepared and they will be resilient. And you're mentioning things that are actually pulling from my key to the game. I don't know how you had access to my notepad, but yeah, we'll get into that in just a moment. But I wanted to mention this quote one more time because I talked about it last week, and it really, I think, maybe helped us just a little bit. I'm a little bit superstitious, especially with the final coming up. Vince Lombardi, a legendary American football coach, was known for saying, "Perfection is not attainable. But if we chase perfection, we can catch excellence. And excellence will be required to beat the Seattle Seawolves. 100% they will have to play an excellent game that they are pursuing perfection but land on excellence. And if anything is less than that, we might end up losing this game. I'm going to go over to my key to the game real quick here. And it is a bit lengthy, as you would expect, considering it's a final. Let's see. It says, General Manager TK and head coach Scott Matthews assembled this team with New England grit in mind. They do that each and every year in the offseason. There are a lot of talented players out there in this world. Rugby is played in all corners of the globe. There are a ton of good rugby players that are good enough to play in the red, white, and blue. But character and fit matter even more than just talent here in New England. Now, that might not be the case in other places, but here you have to fit in with this culture and you have to have great character to play here. You have to have grit to be a New Englander. Just talking about average citizens, the guy that goes to the packy store to grab a quick 6-pack, he's got a butt hanging out of his mouth. He's talking about the Celtics. Just any New Englander that you've ever met in your life, you have to be tough as nails to put up with the weather here in the wintertime. It is not for everybody, right? You have to have that grit. You have to have grit to be a New England Free Jack. Grit is going to get us over the line in this MLR final, just like it got the Continental Army over the line in the American Revolution. If winning a shield was easy, Anthem or Utah or San Diego would have done it, but it takes grit. And I'm talking about GRIT, G, galvanized, togetherness of the locker room, band of brothers on the pitch, having each other's back. R, resilience, as we've talked about over and over and over again in these reviews that we've done in previous weeks. When this team faces adversity, they never, ever back down. They dig their heels in and get ready to fight. Intensity. Every aspect of this game, we need intensity. That's the I. Play physical and make Seattle work for every single inch. And T, finally, you mentioned this earlier, tenacity, supreme determination. The goal is to win the Shield. Determination and perseverance and persistence will get us over the line, and the Shield will be lifted by the New England Free Jacks at 80 minutes. So my key to the game is grit, baby. That will get us over the line. That will allow the New England Free Jacks to once again go back to back here and be the champion of MLR. What you got, Dave?
I thought about my Voltron obsession with these keys.
Sure.
And I thought about uh, the area that I didn't talk about very much just now when going over the Free Jacks, which is our insanely lethal attack.
Mm-hmm.
So my key to the game is cut first, cut fast. We have that big, beautiful Voltron sword that is Jason Patros, Wayne Vanderbank, LaRue Milan, Balacana. Like every back we have
Reese McDonald
is nasty.
Yeah, they are.
Right? Nasty.
Mm-hmm.
And we have got to be able to utilize those guys. I think they're going to have a tremendous amount of work to do. I think smarter people than me who understand kicking better are devising schemes to move those big Seattle boys around, make sure that they are tiring them out. That's going to be those backs jobs. But even more than that is going to be just the ability to generate and close out on opportunities to score points, to score tries. Yep. We're going to need to kick penalties. We're going to need to take the points we get, but we're going to need to score tries to win this game.
100%.
Seattle's defense is much vaunted. You know, the seawall. I thought about breach the seawall, but it's not about them. It's about us, man.
Hell yeah, brother.
You know, we have the tools we need. We don't need to make it a big weird like, oh, they're so good and we've got to be better. Like, it's just, no, we've got to be us. We've got to be the New England Free Jacks. And if we do that, I think we come away with the win. And for me, the key to that, we love the defense. We love the tenacity, the toughness that we talk about. We talk about all the time. But, like, the other piece of the core of this team is its attack, the creativity, the daring, the willingness to back other players on the team, to trust that the guy is going to be there off your hip in support, to trust that you can throw the pass, you know, knowing that the player is going to be where they're supposed to be when they're supposed to be there. It's such a cool part of this Free Jacks team, and I am really excited to see it click in this championship match.
Love that. You know, that's something that we obviously pay homage to on this show, and we talk about the razzle dazzle that we see on the pitch with the backs doing a lot of the dirty work within the attack, or doing the fancy stuff in the attack as opposed to the dirty work. So yeah, I mean, it's a huge part of the game. We have to score points to win. Period. You know, so breaching that seawall will be very important. You know, obviously Seattle, great defense, always has been. That's one of their traditions. So we absolutely have to put points on the board to win. It's just kind of dawning on me now. Like, I'm going to San Diego. Like, this is happening in a couple of days.
I said earlier, I was like, I'm getting on a plane in 4 days.
Right.
It's gonna be weird.
It's 100%. It's weird, but it's necessary, man. Like, we got to be there to support our boys. Like, there's no way that I wouldn't go to this game. So let's get over to score prediction real quick. And I'm just so jazzed up here. We've been pleasantly surprised with the 4-point victory over DC and the 6-point victory over Chicago in the playoffs. I've been saying that the Free Jacks should be winning these games by the skin of their teeth. Based on the pattern, one might think that I would be predicting an 8-point victory over the Seattle Seawolves in the final. But we're playing Seattle here, guys. This team has found ways to win and fight back in their playoff games. Another aspect of this organization has a history of winning championships. They're a big-time club, Seattle is, and I think that is a factor. Even though it's a situation where we have won too. Like, we're a winning culture as well. But They know how to win championships. It is a part of their DNA. Now, there's probably not too many players that are still playing on Seattle that won that championship so long ago, but it is just a part of who they are. They wear those 2 stars on their chest, and by the way, the Free Jacks should be wearing that 1 star. That's a whole different conversation. But we know who we're dealing with here. We are who they thought they were, right? So we can't rely on the ruckus atmosphere of Fort Quincy to boost the boys, although we will have plenty of fans there. It's a neutral venue. All of this adds up to squeaky bum time once again in my mind. This score line should be familiar for all the Rangers out there, but this scenario is completely foreign. Let me grab my microphone here, folks. Jason Patras with a drop goal over the 80-minute mark to win the game. Seattle 24, New England 25. And for the folks at home that are playing along, for those who celebrate, that was the MLR final of last year. That was the exact score line. We're just replacing one Western Conference team with another. 24 Seattle, New England 25. The champions once again are hoisting the shield. The best team at MLR, the mighty New England Free Jacks, are champions. What you got, Dave?
I think it's going to be tight. I think we're going to win by. I have a slightly larger margin. I've got an unconverted try. I think 5 points. I've got 19-24.
Wow.
Seattle going down in
Love
the final.
Love
to
that.
Our New England Free Jacks.
You love to see it. You love to hear it. And hopefully we will experience it from your lips to God's ears. The rugby gods are hopefully going to be kind to the New England Free Jacks once again. And we will see all the folks out there, the Rangers in Seattle. If not, by the way, we have a watch-along. You remember those watch-along things where Bozo gets angry at the referee? That will be taking place as well. If you're not able to make the final and you're not going to a watch-along, make sure you watch this channel, the Jacks Rangers show. For the final, you can turn down the commentary and turn up Bozo to listen to him. Hopefully, Dan from Merrimack will be there. You never know with that guy. There's no commitments with Dan from Merrimack. We'll just hope for the best, and hopefully he'll be there. If not, maybe we'll have some other people joining Bozo. You never know who might pop in on the watch-along for the Jacks Rangers show. But, yeah, any final thoughts?
Can't wait to get out to beautiful Southern California, man. It's gonna be so fantastic. Really looking forward to the weekend. Can't wait to see everybody out there. The San Diego folks, the New England folks. It's gonna be a great time.
Absolutely.
Maybe even a handful of Seattle folks. We'll see.
Yeah. Hey.
I'm ecumenical. I'm an open book. So,
same. I will welcome all Seattle fans with open arms. Open arms. We love you, especially Broccoli Guy, who's the true MVP, sports icon himself, dancing with that broccoli.
Absolutely.
With that being said, we've got a couple of things before we exit the video. And, of course, the main one will be the last word that we always say in this show. Saddle up, let's ride, and huzzah!